What is it? Objectivity of scoring. Yes?
Ma'am, total number of question.
Total number of questions.
मतलब उसके बेसिस पे मतलब
In
उसका
what you are
स्कोरिंग.
asking me, total number of questions? Objectivity of scoring means you score exactly the number of questions you have answered. Right? So
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
very clear. It's very clear that you get the marks. The marks which you receive is exactly as per the number of questions you have attempted. Right? So it's very clear from objective type of examination that you score whatever you have answered. Right? Number of questions you have attempted. Now coming to economy of time. Again, point is very easy. It says it saves time. Why it saves time? Because you don't have to write much. You just have to see the question and answer. And you cannot just make your own ideas and principles and express your creativity. Nothing. There's no scene of doing all those things. So it's only you have to see the question and answer the question. That's all. So scoring keys have been provided, and so that even small people like clerks and not teaching staff can do the scoring of this. So it saves time. It's not necessary that every time the teachers, the staff have to get involved into it. It can be the other way around. Sometimes you can take help from somebody who's not very skilled in teaching but might help you in this. So it saves a lot of time. Next comes educative value. Now, what is educative value? Yes, anybody? Yes. See, if somebody takes an objective examination, then the students can easily score their own values, calculate their own marks. Isn't it? Sometimes the objective examination pattern is such that the moment answer key is given out or released, you can easily calculate your marks. Isn't it? So, at that point of time when you answer your exam and you get the result in your hand, then you come to know that how you've answered. Right? So, it is of a lot of importance for the students. They can get very good guidance as to what points they should emphasize in their further study. Right? You will get a clear idea that, okay, this answer was wrong, so next time I have to focus on this area in order to do better or perform better. Am I clear with this? 3 points: objectivity of scoring, economy of time, and educative value of advantages of objective type of examination. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Yes, ma'am. Okay, fine. Then, standardization possible. Now, what is standardization? Objective type of tests are standardized tests, so uniformity can be maintained. Right? The achievement of students appearing in a year may be compared with those appearing subsequently in the preceding year. Right? So comparison is very much possible through objective type of examination, because when subjective answers are given, sometimes it becomes very difficult. Teachers have their own mentality of checking, own way of checking things. One essay if you have written, or a long answer if you have written, out of 16 marks, sometimes some teacher would like the answer very much because of your presentation, because of maybe many other things, and she gives you 12 on 16. But maybe the other examiner, she will give you 10 on 16 or maybe 15 on 16. So there is a lot of variation in marks. Whereas in objective type of questions, there is no room for such things. If your answer is correct, you get the marks. It's wrong, you don't get the marks. Is it clear? Then, rote memory not effective. So it's very clear from the sentence itself that you cannot think of answering an objective examination just by learning and memorizing things. No, you cannot. Your concept should be clear, your basic idea about the topic should be clear, your basic knowledge should be clear. Then only you can do well in objective examination. Right? So there's no room for rote memory. It's not effective at all. Last minute cramming is not helpful. Right? If you think end moment I'll just see and learn and go, no, it won't help you. Okay? It's very easy to secure marks in subjective examination through rote memory, but not in objective type of examination. Are you getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, fine. Then coming to comprehensiveness. What is being comprehensive? Comprehensiveness means objective examinations are very comprehensive in nature. The number of items being very large, they can cover much more material than the old subjective type of examination. Means the coverage area, it has a wide coverage of the topics, because many questions can be framed if you want to conduct an objective type of examination, whereas we have our limitations while conducting subjective examination. Got it? Comprehensiveness is clear with you all? Yes?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
If you don't answer, sometimes I feel that I'm not audible maybe, so just respond, okay? Any one of you can just unmute and respond. Then, next is impartiality. So this can be well understood by each one of you, that in objective questions, there is no question of teachers being impartial, right? Teachers cannot be partial to anyone, right? So, a teacher cannot show favor to any of the students in objective type of examinations. Evaluation of answer books does not reflect his personal bias. So, it is possible in subjective examination, but it is not possible in objective examination, because whatever the question is, if you have written the correct answer, the teacher has to give you marks. And if you haven't, then you cannot score marks. Right? So there's no teacher that she or he can show some kind of favorism towards anybody. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So I hope point 4, 5, 6, 7 is clear with you all.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Anyone who didn't understand can ask me now, right now. Anyone who didn't understand, if you want to ask something from these 7 points, please ask so that I'll proceed.
Ma'am, economy of time.
Economy of time. See, as I told you, subjective examinations need a lot of time for correction. Yes or no? Sometimes you write pages after pages. Being a teacher tomorrow, you will also realize, being a would-be teacher, that when somebody writes long answers, it takes a lot of many grammatical errors, spelling errors are there. Each one you need to rectify, write the correct thing. So it's time consuming. Even the students need more time to write subjective answers, right? Whereas objective answers need very less time for corrections also, as well as for the students to answer, right? But one more point can here is that it's not necessarily that the objective examination will be or has to be checked by the teachers. It can be done by any clerk who's there, can do the corrections, can find out the marks and let the teacher know, right? So time can be saved to do some useful things. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, whoever asked it, is it clear? Okay. Other than that, any other point, or else I'll proceed? Point you want me to explain? No. Fine. Fine. Coming to point number 8, extensive sampling. Now, what is it? What is sampling? A wider sampling of knowledge is possible in the case of objective type of examination. This is not feasible with only few questions, right? Therefore, candidates cannot complain that some questions fail to suit them. Because we are covering the entire topic and we are taking questions from each and every unit, you cannot say that, okay, this was not touched, this was not touched. Every aspect is being touched. So the area is very extensive, very wide. Each and every topic, each and every knowledge is tested or checked through objective type of examination. Then comes free association not possible. Now, what is free association? What happens is, sometimes in subjective examination, in case you don't know the exact answer about the question which has come, you sometimes associate it with various different things and frame an answer and write. Are you getting my point? You do it, I think. All of you do it. Sometimes when a question is not
Yes,
very
ma'am.
clear to you, what do you do? उसके आगे पीछे साइड वाइड जो भी होता है उसका जो रिलेटेड थिंग्स है उसको लेके वी फॉर्म एन आंसर, इजंट इट? वो पॉसिबल है सब्जेक्टिव में, और वहाँ अगर फुल मार्क्स नहीं भी मिलता है तो वी एक्सपेक्ट समथिंग, चलो ठीक है, समथिंग इज बेटर देन नथिंग, राइट? तो वहाँ पे हमें मार्क्स मिल जाते हैं. लेकिन यहाँ ऑब्जेक्टिव टाइप ऑफ एग्जामिनेशन में क्या होता है, इफ यू डोंट नो द राइट एंड एग्जैक्ट आंसर, देयर इज नो क्वेश्चन ऑफ एसोसिएशन. यू कैन नॉट एसोसिएट विद एनीथिंग, ये नहीं तो ये हो जाएगा, नहीं, ये तो यही है. There is no question. Wrong means wrong. You don't know means you don't know. And subjective mein you can just be like use your own ideas, creativity and just knowledge and relate with things and then associate with things and frame an answer and get some marks at least out of the complete marks which is given to that question. Right? Okay? Now,
Yes, ma'am.
time limit for essay type examinations is generally 3 hours. Objective type tests take much less time. Most of these tests take an hour or so. If they are longer, proper rest, pauses are given. So what happens? Generally objective type of examinations, if you are well prepared, there's an important point. If you are well prepared, if you are sitting there to ask somebody and just think and write, then it is not for you. The children who are students who are well prepared with the content, it is very time less, it takes a less time for them to answer the paper. Sometimes we see that while doing invigilation in the competitive examinations, we have seen children finishing the paper. Suppose it is 2 hours paper or 3 hours paper, they finish it half an hour, 45 minutes before. But in subjective examination, they slog till the end of the exam. They keep on writing because they think the more we write, the more marks will score. And there is there is option also for you to write. There are very avenues for you to write. But in objective examination, you cannot do that, and you have to restrict yourself to the time. And there is the examination itself needs very less time if you are well prepared. Clear? Am I clear with the advantages of objective type of examination? With this, we come to the end of advantages of objective type of examination. So, we'll just review the thing. What is objective examination we have done? Then, what are the advantages we have done? Objectivity of scoring, economy of time, educative value, standardization possible, rote memory not effective, comprehensiveness, impartiality, extensive sampling, free association not possible, less time. Right? So these are the advantages of objective examination. Now we come to the shortcomings or disadvantages. What are the loopholes we see in an objective type of examination? As I've earlier also I've told you, when you get an answer, you need to discuss both. In your essay type answers, you need to discuss first what is objective, elaborate on it, and then come to subjective, elaborate on it, and then we come to a conclusion where we just try to give a conclusory statement for both objective as well as examination. That will make you one complete answer. Now shortcomings में क्या है? First is effect of coaching. Now you can see so many coaching centers have come up. If you just go back, find out that when did this effect of coaching begin? It was basically with the implementation of objective type of examination, right? So with this kind of examination coming into the field of education, the coaching centers have also developed. Standardized objective type of tests are used over very wide area, and the same test is used on many occasions. In this process, it becomes familiar. Teachers can give coaching on the same, which would make the test invalid for their use. So in that case, informal objective type tests may be prepared by teachers themselves. So it becomes very easy for the teachers if they go through the questions, while just because you're covering each and every area, if you get the questions of one exam, it will be easier for you to coach the other batches which come, right? So you've got a wider area of making guesswork. So effective coaching centers and effective coaching becomes important here because of objective type of examination, and this is a major shortcoming of objective type of examination. Then comes no opportunity to organize material. Now again here, in case you want to organize things, an examinee has just to check over the truth and falsity of statement and to complete the sentences. He gets no opportunity to organize the material or express it in his own way. So there is no chance of creativity, no chance to organize things. What you know, you know. You know the answer, you write it. You don't know, you don't write. Finished. So there's no opportunity for you to organize things or write in a better manner. Or show his capacity to apply principles. So you cannot do all these things, right? Nothing is possible in objective type of examination. Then high cost of standardization. So the cost of constructing, printing and duplicating an objective type of examination is greater than that of old essay type examinations, right? Because you've seen the number of pages it consumes or whatever. Its number of questions are many, so the number of pages consumption is many, printing cost is much. So all the cost of standardization, to make it a standardized paper, the expenses are very high, right? So in the same way, if the tests, objective tests are presented orally, then the cost will be less. Okay, objective test, if it is presented orally to the students, then the cost will be less, but otherwise it becomes an expensive matter. Then skill and standardization. Again, if you have to construct an objective test, the construction and standardization of new type of test require a great skill and training. It's very difficult if you tell a teacher sometimes to frame an objective type of test for you all, frame the questions. It becomes very difficult because the teacher has to be really skilled in that field in order to frame. She herself has to have a very good content knowledge of the entire thing so that she can frame good, effective questions with good answers. Because options are not given. You have to select your own options from the book. You have to make those 4 options which are very close. Gradually what happens? The teacher's skill is tested here, and she has to be really a skilled one in order to frame a proper standardized objective examination. Right? So, getting back to these 4 points, am I clear enough with you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. No difficulty. You don't have any difficulty. I'll proceed. Next slide. Okay. Effect of guessing. Now, what happens? Sometimes we see children, we see students, just they do the guesswork. Okay, fine. This can be the answer. Chalo, dal diya, tick kar diya. Right? So, the effect of guessing is very, very high. Examinees may obtain certain number of correct answers merely by guessing. It happens. It's an examination If your luck favors and you answer the examination and maybe your guesswork becomes correct, or it's a very true guess, then in that case you scored, no matter you haven't prepared very well. So this is particularly so true, false, or alternative response items. Even if the answers are given at random, 50% marks can be obtained. So sometimes you happen, okay, I have marked A here, I'll mark B, and then C, then D, again A, B, C, D. Randomly also if you do, sometimes you tend to score marks. So the effect of guessing is it's a very important shortcoming of objective type of examination. Then coming to elementaristic tendencies. Now what is this? Anybody can tell me? Yes. Anyone? Yes, it's very elementary. It means generally what happens now, it tests the examinee's general understanding of the subject. Right, you test the general understanding of the subject and the detailed information. Objective type of test measure only the trivial, means superficial things. We just go with the superficial things. Right, suppose one unit is there where somebody's date of birth is discussed and other things. The teacher first question she'll frame is that when was he born? Option this. They will not go for framing questions which really require some kind of thinking. Right, so it becomes very elementaristic. The tendency becomes very elementaristic, means it's very superficial. We just touch the superficial things and go ahead with the content. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay. So what happens? Suggestive effect of wrong responses. Now what happens? Generally in true, false, alternate responses, multiple choice, as well as sometimes in other items, what happens? False statements are given along with the correct ones. Now these wrong answers are suggestible to the minds of the young people. Sometimes we can get from there. The questions only have the answers with them. Right? So, these wrong answers are suggestible to the minds of the young people and may later on believe them to be correct. So, we try to sometimes, whenever the options are there, we try to believe in those wrong options, the suggestive wrong options, and we try to, it has an effect on the minds of the students. Unsuitability of objective tests for some subjects. Now this does not suit every kind of examination. Every subject cannot be tested with the help of objective type of examination. Okay, for example, English composition. Suppose you want to test the writing skills of the students. Is it possible for objective examination? No. So here what happens? The only option left for us is the subjective type of examination. Right? So sometimes questions or topics are such or subjects are such that we need to back upon what? Subjective type of examination. Objective examinations become very, very unsuitable for some subjects. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it clear? Are you clear with these 8 points?
Yes, ma'am.
These are the shortcomings of objective type of exams. So we have dealt with the advantages and shortcomings. Anything you have not understood here, you can just ask me so that I can proceed to the next. Am I clear to everybody? Things are clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I hope you all are taking a screenshot of the slides. or noting down somewhere?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
These are the points you
Yes,
need to,
ma'am.
yeah, these are the points you need to elaborate when you frame an answer. Okay? Chalo. Then coming to suggestions for the construction and uses of objective type of tests. There are some suggestions given, some concrete suggestions for the benefit of teachers as well as students. How can we construct the test and how can we use these tests? In this, the test constructed must have some sort of diagnostic value. It must reveal the strengths and weaknesses of the pupils. Means, whenever you construct this kind of test or use the test in order to test the students, it should diagnose something. What? The strengths and the weaknesses of the pupils. What are you good at? What are you weak at? The thing should come forward or come in the forefront when you generally construct an objective type of test. Right? So it should have some constructive and diagnostic value. Okay? Then, it must be concerned with the relevant material alone. Extraneous subject matter should not be touched. So whatever relevant material we have to concentrate on that and we have to construct the test accordingly rather than touching upon the irrelevant things or things which are not of much importance. Right? The extra things should not be touched upon. Only the relevant material which is there should be touched upon for constructing the examination. Point 3 says, extensive examination should be possible with least time and effort. Extensive means it should be a vast, extensive examination with minimum time and minimum effort. Means the student's time and effort should be less, but the examination should be such that it covers most of the content which has been dealt with the students. So extensive examination should be possible. The time with the limited effort, extensive examination should be conducted. Are you clear with these 3 points? What are the suggestions? First, it should be diagnostic. It should have a diagnostic value. Means when you do diagnosis, when you want to find out, when you want to review. So in the same way, when you construct an objective type of examination for your students, always keep in mind what you want to check. Whether the topic has been understood well by my children. What are the shortcomings? Okay, so this should be kept in mind. Second, it should be concerned with the relevant material alone. There are many things given in the book, given in the chapter which are irrelevant, which are not actually required for the purpose or the goal for which you are proceeding. Those things should be left out and only the relevant material should be concentrated upon and the test should be based on those relevant material which has been provided. Then it should be a wider examination, possible time and least effort. Means it should be an extensive examination. It should cover the entire topic, entire unit, entire portion, entire syllabus, whatever it is. Am I clear with these 3 points?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, the test should be comprehensive enough to measure all the desirable knowledge. It should not be based on a few lucky questions. It happens sometimes, isn't it? That you get some lucky questions and you tend to achieve a very good score. It should not happen this way. It should be comprehensive enough. It should cover all the desirable knowledge of the students which they have gained throughout the span of years. Suppose I construct a test for you all in B.Ed after doing your 4 semesters. I construct one objective type of examination to check. Then I should touch upon each semester's syllabus properly. It should not be few lucky questions for you all which will give you marks, right? So, it should be comprehensive enough. It should be able to measure whatever knowledge we have tried to give to the students. Got it? Then, it should discourage mechanical rote learning and encourage creative work. So we have already discussed that the objective test which is constructed or which we are framing for the students, it should not promote rote learning. Instead, it should promote creativity. It should give ample amount of opportunity to the students or the examinees to think and do better. Right? It should not happen that whatever we have done, whatever questions we have framed, a child just learns up, marks up and answers, will be able to answer. No. There should be enough opportunity for the students to think and give some creative, do some creative work or creative answers. Right. Coming to the objective as possible from the viewpoint of selection of items as well as scoring. No personal bias should be involved. So it should be as objective and as per the selection of whatever items you've selected, this should be based on those number of items. Right? The students should be what to write and it should be scoring enough for the students. Then coming to point number 7, it should have discriminative use. That is, distinguish students in various categories. Right? Now what do we do in this? Discriminative use. Anybody can give an example? Yes? Yes. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay, fine. So this discriminative value, anybody can tell me what it is? Discriminative use. Yes? Now various categories. When you take an objective type of examination or competitive examination, you have seen that they are ranked in percentiles and all. Right? So you are able to discriminate among the students. The top level, the next level, and then comes the lower level. So according to ranks and all, you should be able to place them. Just because you have constructed an objective type of examination, a student should not be like from proper scoring. It should be able to, the test should be such that it should be able to discriminate amongst the various categories of students. Okay, if they are good, they should come to the top level and get the top ranking. Then there should be various categories. Now suppose in a competitive examination, I would like to ask you all one question. 2 candidates have answered and they've scored the same marks, right? So what are the other things we take into consideration? Do you have any idea to put the rank for them? Yes? How do you put the rank for them? Can anyone tell me?
Ma'am, time.
What time? Time means what? I'm asking, suppose you have answered a competitive examination and you both score equal marks. So how to give the rank to them? Who will be the top rank? There are certain criteria, you know, or you don't know. Now sometimes the subject is considered. Suppose you are answering engineering, then the subject which is considered is maths. Means the child who has scored more in maths will get a higher rank. In the same way, if you answer medical, what is the subject? Yes. See, students, you should know all these things because tomorrow you are going to become teachers and your students will ask you these questions, right? So, in medical, when we answer, what is the subject we consider?
Biology.
Come on. Biology, very good. So, sometimes it happens that even two students who have scored the best marks have scored the same in biology also. That time what we see? Suppose two students have got same marks. Out of 100, they've got maybe 90. And they've scored 88 in biology, both of them. In that case, what do we consider? If you know, then tell me. Otherwise, if you don't know, I'll tell you. Yes? Don't know? Okay. Next comes age. Okay, in any examination, if there are multiple time you can appear for the examination, then your age is considered. Because definitely a child who is older than you will get a lesser time to attempt, right? So age is also considered. Now, comparison, point number 8. Comparison should be possible on the basis of the results of a test. The test should be constructed in such a way that you are able to compare between two batches, maybe two batches to you will be able to compare. So from one group of pupils may be compared with that of the other. So the type of question should not be something which is out of the blue. Okay, it should be such that you can compare the results of two batches. Clear? Are you getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Test should provide opportunity for the observation of behavior as well. So it's not only number of questions you do correctly, even your behavior should be observed while writing an objective test. How you do it, how well you present it, what is the method you are applying, when you finish it, how prompt you are, right? So these all observed or also tested with the help of objective type of examination. The test should provide opportunity for the observation of behavior as well. And the last suggestion given is norms should be established in terms of actual performance and not in terms of opinion or judgment alone. So whatever norms you set, it should be on the performance of actual performance. It should be on the terms of actual performance and not that in my opinion this should have been or in my judgment. No, it's not that. It's according to the norms, whatever terms of actual performance is needed, it is established and it is set. Got it? So these are some of the suggestions in order to improve what? Upon the construction of objective tests as well as in the use of tests in your field of area. Right? Got it? So let me just review the short-term the suggestions once. The test constructors must have a diagnostic value. It should be relevant. It should be extensive examination. it should be comprehensive, it should discourage mechanical rote learning. So these are the key points, right, which you can learn when you want to write an answer. The test should be objective as possible on the selected items so that it is easier for them to score. Then it should have a discriminative use. Comparison should be possible. It should provide opportunity for observation of behavior, and norms should be established in the performance of actual performance and not in terms of opinion. Okay. Anything which you want to discuss now? Or it's clear? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
It's clear to each one of you? Okay, so just to revise, let me ask you some questions now. What is the objective type of examination? Anyone? Anyone who can already just unmute and answer? Come on.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, objective type questions are those which required a specific answer, and it should provide a correct answer. If a student is answering a wrong answer, opting for a wrong answer, then it will turn into 0. So basically the number of questions he is attempting or she is attempting, the result will be on the basis of that.
Right. Anyone from Hindi? I would like to hear. Students who are answering in Hindi or who have opted for Hindi. Please tell me. Yes, nobody. Shalini Rani is there? Shalini
Yes,
Rani,
ma'am.
are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
You are answering in Hindi, no?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the objective type of examination? नहीं समझ आया?
Yes, ma'am. आया.
बोलिए. बोलिए. Anyone else? Anyone else who can answer? Sunita, are you there? Sunita Marandi, are you there? Sunita Marandi, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
आप भी तो हिंदी में लिखती है ना शायद?
No, ma'am.
इंग्लिश में लिखती है?
English.
Okay. Pinky Singh is there? हिंदी वाले कोई नहीं बता सकता what is objective type of examination?
मैम
No one.
मैम
हाँ बोलिए.
वो स्टूडेंट्स एग्जाम
कौन बोलो?
परीक्षा हुआ है
हाँ
इसमें
बोलो रेशमा.
जिसमें 4 उसके उत्तर 4 दिए होंगे
अच्छा.
उसमें से एक सही होगा उसको हमको चुनना
सही होगा उसको हमको चुनना है.
ठीक है, एक आंसर सही होगा, ठीक है. अब advantages, any two advantages anybody would like to say? What are the advantages I discussed just now? Any two I would like to hear from you all. Come on, if we don't recapitulate the thing, that means I will get a feedback that you have not understood anything. So no use saying, ma'am, I have understood, ma'am, we have understood, ma'am, you can proceed. As it is, things are very difficult in this virtual platform, where we don't know from your expression whether you are understanding or not. And even if you don't give response, that adds to it. At least respond and tell two advantages I'm asking, which I discussed just now. It's in front of you.
Ma'am, it is less time taking.
Yes, ma'am. हाँ रमा बोलो.
Ma'am, it is less time taking, economically good, ma'am.
Okay. Fine. Okay. One of you say the disadvantages. Any two disadvantage?
Ma'am, effect of coaching and effect of guessing.
Right. Okay. Good. Now coming to suggestions. Any two suggestions?
Ma'am, diagnostic,
Yes.
diagnostic,
Diagnostic. Right.
irrelevant
Yes,
material,
Abhishek.
or extensive,
Fine. The time begin with subjective type of examination in the coming class. Okay, and as I've told you, might not be the next class, because next class I would like to finish subjective. Maybe next to next class I'm planning for an objective. I'll let you know the date, but please be prepared with two topics which we have discussed in the third semester for an objective examination. I think I'm clear with you all, and I want better attendance. Don't try to run away from things. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And all of you gear up for your examinations. Now it's examination time. You're going to soon have your first semester exams which are pending. So do start revising. If you have any doubts anywhere from the topics which have been taught in first semester, just ask. So keep this at the back of the mind. You can have the examinations in the near future. It won't be very long. Right? I hope you all are keeping well. No health issues?
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone?
Yes,
All are
ma'am.
fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Enjoying life, isn't it? Chalo, okay then. See you all in the next class. Thank you.
thank you, ma'am.
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 might not be next class, because next class I would like to finish subjective. Maybe next to next class I'm planning for an objective. I'll let you know the date, but please be prepared with 2 topics which we have discussed in the 3rd semester for an objective examination. I think I'm clear with you all, and I want better attendance